Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Jones, and welcome to another episode of our Facebook Live Software Success. So, we are excited to be here with you and share with you all kinds of information about using your DIME embroidery software. So today we are going to be seeing some fun designs that you can create, maybe some last minute projects if you want, and so many things that you can do. So if you are out there watching, then make sure that you are telling me where you're watching from. And if you've got questions along the way, make sure that you are asking those questions as well. So we have been doing this software success for the last couple of months, and we are having really good success. So lots of questions come about with the software, and we're able to share some tips and tricks along the way. And so it's been a really fun new live presentation that we're doing. So today we are going to be talking about word art and stitches. And so the title, the text factor, because word art and stitches is all about your specialty fonts and manipulating text. But it's not just that. Believe it or not, it can edit a design as well. So we've got a really fun presentation in store for you to see some different things you can do with the built-in wizards. Wizards in our software make things super quick and easy. You can create designs in just like a couple of clicks, save it, and you're ready to go. So I'm going to show you some of those wizards today. And then also we're going to talk about design manipulation. So how you can do things to really customize your design. So I'll share that with you as well. So make sure you let us know where you're watching from. And if you have any questions along the way, I love to answer your questions. So I also wanted to introduce you today to our education team. So we have an awesome education team, and I want you to recognize these names and faces because you'll see them in some of the places that you go to learn our software. So first is Aine McCarthy, and she has been sewing a very long time. She's an expert in embroidery and also sewing, learned to sew at a very young age. And Aine is also a veterinarian. That was the industry that she came from. So we love having Aine. We also have Lisa Knight. Lisa Knight, we refer to as our sew girl. That's what she calls herself because she lives in Las Vegas. So she's our Las Vegas sew girl. And Lisa, also an embroidery expert, very creative in her presentation. So you'll be able to see Lisa from time to time. Tammy Madden is our newest educator. Tammy has been helping us with our chat and also does education for us. She used to do traveling education for Embroidery Garden. So she is fantastic, again, all things embroidery. And so she's a great addition to our team and has really done a great job. We also have Lori Albrecht. So Lori teaches our private tutoring lessons. She is from the Illinois area and is also a great addition to our team. Very knowledgeable on our software, very creative. She also helps and stitches samples for us as well. And then we also have Karen Lamondola, who teaches our software lessons. And those software lessons, I'll show you where you can go to find those as well. And also, she helps with the directing of our virtual presentations also. So Karen Lamondola is also one of the people that wrote for one of our skill building workbooks, which are PDF tutorials for some of our software. So we have a really versatile group of ladies there that very proud to have all of them part of our education team. So I just wanted you to recognize their name and their faces because some of the places that you find help for our software, you will see their name, their faces pop up. So we always have tons of help for you to learn any of our DIME software. This here, this Facebook Live is one of them. This is one of the resources that you can come to and learn things about your software. Now, I'm going to talk about the different pieces throughout the weeks and months to come. But even though I'm talking about one particular piece, all of our DIME software have a lot of things in common about how to use the tools, how to resize, rotate, adjust your text, things like that. So even if you are using a different piece than I'm showing, you're still going to learn something from these Facebook Live sessions here. So, and also YouTube. So we're on YouTube and Facebook. So if you go to inspiredbydime.com, looking for help with any of your DIME software, and you click on the support option, from the drop down list, you'll see community forum. If you click on community forum, you'll see all of these options here below. So the first 4 options are free education options for you to learn any of our DIME programs, even our free embroidery toolshed. So our Facebook user group, if you click there, it'll take you to our Facebook user group so you can sign up or, asked to join the group and someone will approve you. So in that Facebook group, you will see the names of our education team members. So when you are asking a question, we have thousands of knowledgeable users, but we also have our education team monitors that Facebook page. So you'll get answers from them directly from time to time. Also, our YouTube channel is where you can subscribe and find videos that we've recorded, past videos, past live presentations, but also past webinars on our software. So to go to our YouTube channel will get you back to any of these Facebook Lives on our software success, but also on our Between Friends Facebook Live, which is on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Central. Eileen often shows a snippet of something that you can do in software. So another great place to learn your embroidery software from DIME. Our Inspiration Forum is a place that you can go ask questions. It's similar to Facebook, but it's not on Facebook. You can use that even if you're not a Facebook user. And you can ask a question and see answers, but you can also see past questions and answers as well. And the last 2 options, these are actually paid options for learning the software. We have PDF workbooks that you can purchase individually, and they're tutorials that step you through learning your software. And we also have those 30-minute private tutoring sessions. When you click on that icon there, it'll take you over. You can choose to set your time for your lesson, and then also choose which educator you want to work with. And they will meet you at that time over Zoom and answer any questions that you have about your software. So it's really an impressive way to learn your programs. Over in the comments, so hopefully you guys are making comments. For some reason, I am not seeing those comments, so I do apologize if you're asking questions. For some reason, I'm not seeing them. So I'll go on, and then maybe some of those will pop up a little bit later, or maybe I can look at them in a different location. So, but don't stop making the comments because they may pop up, and we've got our team working on it to figure that out as well. But let's get to some information on what we're talking about today. So I want to show you in Word Art and Stitches today. So Word Art and Stitches is our program. We refer to it as our lettering program because it has a lot of specialty fonts and also things that you can do to manipulate your text. But it's not just that. I'm actually going to show you how you can use it to do a little bit of design editing as well. But inside of Word Art and Stitches, we have specialty fonts like Mylar, jumbo fonts. We have a shadow work and a freestanding lace font as well. But there are hundreds of built-in fonts, not just these that you see on the screen, and you're going to see more about those. And so it is a program that you can create professional lettering, but also do some design editing. And we have tons of built-in features as well. So, and I just see a bunch of comments pop up. So I think that we are good to go. So I see a bunch of people saying where they're watching from. So thank you so much. So it seems like we are working now. So if you've got questions, make sure you're asking. So Word Art and Stitches is the program I'm going to be using today. And I'm going to be using some of the built-in wizards, but just know what I'm showing you today from the wizards, they're built into Word, Art, and Stitches. But the things that I do to manipulate the text and adjust the design, those are things that you can do in any of our DIME embroidery software. So let's see who, before we go over to the software. So let's see who all we've got watching with us today. So we've got Florida, and that's where I am. So great to see you from Florida, Dawn. And so we've got Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining, Elaine. And also Nevada. So thanks for joining, Beverly. We've got Texas in the house. That's where our home office is. I'm sure you guys know. Edmond, Washington. I used to live up there in the Pacific Northwest. So thanks for joining, Lindell. And so Elaine says that she has I'm assuming that's my quilt embellisher. The My Block Piecer and my quilt embellisher. I actually purchased them years ago, but didn't realize what I could do with them. I saw Ashley on the AccuQuilt program, and I can't wait to start making quilt blocks. That is awesome. Thank you, Elaine. Yes, it is. Those two software work together like peas and carrots. Like they are really impressive, the things that you can do. So I'm glad that you checked that out. So thanks for watching. So we have Michigan, Ann Philback. Thank you for joining. Ann, she's a frequent flyer, so we appreciate your support. From Windy, West Virginia. We've got Maine, Gulfport, Mississippi, originally from Mobile, Alabama. And so I definitely know Gulfport. Spent a lot of time over there. Thanks for joining, Carolyn. San Antonio, Elizabeth. We've got Kansas. We've got people from all over. Oh, I love seeing everybody join to learn their software. If you guys have ever seen me, you know that I think software is my most valuable tool because I can manipulate my designs and do the things that I want to do with my embroidery designs. Even if it's something that I got from, another designer, I can adjust it. So you guys know that I love it as much as you. So, hey, Randy Allen from Tacoma. So thanks for joining. So that's my old stomping grounds up there outside of Puyallup. So okay, so let's head over to Word, Art, and Stitches, and maybe that will spawn some more questions. And so if you have questions, make sure you're putting them in the chat. So the chat is flying by. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad we kind of figured that out. Thanks for the team there in the background that also made that happen. And in Word, Art, and Stitches, if you have questions, put 3 question marks in front of your question or a few of them or something. That helps me pick it out of the lineup so that I can definitely get to your question. Okay, so now I'm inside of Word, Art, and Stitches. Now remember, if you guys watched the past software success lives that we did, these programs that we're talking about, all of our DIME software, they actually work from within inside of Embroidery Toolshed. So you can see at the top up here, it says Embroidery Toolshed. That's the program that houses all of the features from all of my DIME programs. As I scroll down here, you can see we have a very large selection. Now, I have mine specifically set so that what I'm showing you today is only from our Word, Art, and Stitches. But remember, I'm showing things in this program that not only can you do in Word Art, but the text and the design manipulation can be done in other DIME software. So make sure that you, just realize that. And I try to differentiate. So inside of Word, Art, and Stitches, let's talk about getting started with Word, Art, and Stitches first. And then we're going to create a couple of designs just to make it a little more fun. So all of DIME's software is icon driven. And so if you hover over any of these icons, it says press F2 for video. If you press the F2 on your keyboard, it'll play a short little video in your browser for how to use this particular icon. So the first icons that you see here, what is that? It looks like 7 different icons. Those are all the different types of text built into Word, Art, and Stitches. So your regular text, monogram, micro, we have puffy, applique, true type, text, which are texts that live on your computer that maybe are not specifically already embroidery text, and also calligraphy as well. So these are how you get to your text. These two here are wizards. So these are quick, easy ways to create some fun designs. You click on it, you fill out the information, and boom, you have a design. So I'm going to show you a couple of those so we can create designs, but then I'm going to show you how to edit those, which again falls into the way that you can do this with all of our other pieces of software. These four here are text manipulation, which I'm going to show you in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about these icons here, and these four here are built in designs that are free for you to use within your software. So if I click on one of these, you can see here some little built-in design elements, that cute little ink spot. So that is super cute. If you're doing something maybe for like an artist or something. These are travel stamps that you can use. You just select, put it on the screen, and it's ready to stitch. You can maybe put some text with it, make it look like a passport. So those are under the little stamp icon. In the text designs here, these are miniature designs that are really awesome for embellishing your text. And so these little designs you can resize, change the color, use them to incorporate in your text or maybe even another design. Also here we have a specialty few fonts that you select letter by letter because these are more like a monogram type font. So these are all included under those little text designs. Some little geometric shapes you can use with your text, and the subway. So the subway, I actually consider this to be very similar to a wizard because it's already ready to go. So I'm going to choose this one for family. And when I come in, it is grouped. Remember, if you don't remember what grouped is, go back and watch the last couple of the Software Success Live presentations that we did. I talk about group, ungroup, but in short, when you ungroup it, it allows you to access the individual pieces, whereas when it's grouped together, it keeps it together as one. So now when you ungroup it, you can click on one of the words and it opens up over here in my text tool, and I can type in whatever I want to type in place of it. So maybe instead of grandma here, maybe you want to put something that's friends. So let me not talk and type. So that is super hard for me to do. And so type your text, and when you click apply, you can see that it changes it on the screen. Now this is a little shorter than what grandma was, so I can just stretch that out. And maybe you bake together with your friends. Maybe it feels like home. They're like family. You like cooking together. There's always stories, comforts. But maybe you want to change spoil to, fun together. So you can type fun and click apply. And again, if it's not the right size, you can always stretch that, or you could put 2 words if you want. So you can customize these to be whatever you need them to be. And again, the nice thing is when you click on the text, because these are built into the software, I don't have to recreate this text. I just go over and change this here. So maybe here we put adventure instead of cooking for our friends. And adventure is too long, so we can do the same and shorten that up by clicking and dragging. So when I am choosing the text, my all those little shapes around will allow me to make adjustments to that design. Now, when I click on my text tool, this is my text selection tool, you can see that it gives me a completely different set of little shapes and icons around there. So those are from selecting my text tool up here in the left and then clicking on the word. I still can change from here, but it's a different type of select than just using my select tool. So you can see I can change the kerning by those double arrows there. This is the same in all DIME software that has built-in text. I can adjust the envelope. I can make it larger, smaller here. I can also rotate it with the rotate arrow. And if I have my select tool selected, you can see that I only have those shapes around the outside. Another reason to go back to your text selection tool is that when I do a right mouse click, it'll actually reset my text to what it was before I started making all those changes in the text mode. So you can select these and make changes. Now, these are built in under your text designs in this category called Subway. We have all of these different Subway art here that you can choose and change the text. So even though this says family, maybe you want it to be, something different than relating to family, when you change the words to relate to that. And then once you're done making those edits, you're just going to choose File, Save As, and then from the drop down list, make sure you choose your PES or your JEF, EXP, VP3, whatever format that you work with for your embroidery machine, and save it. Now, another tip for saving your design here is to save it under the C2S file first. So let me show you what happens when you save C2S versus your embroidery machine format. And actually, I'll just use this design here. So I'm going to do File, Save As, and let's save it once as a C2S. And I'm going to just call this our test 1. And I'm saving that as a C2S. And then I'm going to save it again as my embroidery machine format. So PES, JEF, VP3, EXP, DST, any of that. And I've still got it named test 1, and I'm going to click save here. First of all, let me copy this path so I can get back to it. So I'm going to click save. And then let's go to the location where I saved those designs. And here it was our test 1 and our test 2. Okay, so let me close this out and let me show you what happens when you open the PES versus the C2S. So I'm going to open up the PES. You can see down here in my tab, it says test1.pes. Now notice when I select this, it's not selecting my entire word anymore. This actually has created the file that my embroidery machine recognizes. So when I push this plus over here in my sequence view, you can see that this is broken up into a set of runs and satins, which makes up these text. Run stitches usually are the foundation, and the satin stitch is that beautiful stitch we see on the edge. So to change this text, it's not going to be as easy. So when you bring in a file that is a PES file to any of our DIME software and you want to change the text, you cannot just click on it and change it in the text box. You would have to remove it. So I just selected it. I pressed the delete on my keyboard to delete all parts of it. And then I would click my text tool, and then I can add text back. So I can type my text, click apply, and then I would need to resize that, manipulate that, if I wanted to make those changes. So, and maybe you're, you want to change it's not just the word, but maybe it's something that you misspelled or something like that. But now let's close this one. I'm not going to save it, and I'm just going to open up the C2S. So when I open up the C2S file, when I click on bake, look at this. It's over here in my text. So I could change this to whatever I want it to be and click apply. And it remembers not only that this is text, and if I go over here to my sequence view and I push the plus arrow, the plus sign, I can see that it sees this as a type text, which remembers all of this information about my text. So, and the same is true, not just for text, but it's also true for designs that you save. And I can even change the text type or the font type that you see there. So just so you know how to work it. So, but those built in, to me, that's a wizard. It's already set up and you just make the changes. But that's the difference in the C2S and the PES file. So make sure that you save that C2S if you think you want to get back to it. So, okay, I see a lot of questions popping up. So let me answer some of those. And then I'm going to show you how to create this cute little St. Patrick's Day designs in the software. So I'll show you that coming up here in just a bit. But let's see some of the questions. I'm going to scroll back here and see what we can find. So So Georgia says, can you make quilt labels with this program? Absolutely. So that has tons of built-in text that you can create your saying for your quilt label and save it. The other thing about Word Art and Stitches is it has built-in micro text, which stitch down really small. And sometimes we have a lot of information on our quilt blocks or our quilt labels. So that would be perfect for that. Absolutely, Georgia. And then we have a question that is from Ready, Willing, and Able. I guess that's pretty cute. And it says, does this work with MySewNet or is it a specific program? So MySewNet, my understanding of MySewNet is it's a cloud place that you are storing your designs for your embroidery machine. And so the way that you would work with this program, so this does not interfere with your MySewNet. You would create the design in Word Art and Stitches, and when you save it, you would then put it into your MySewNet. So it'd be just like if you purchased a design that you want to put so that you can transfer it to your machine. So so it would work independently to create the design, and then you could put the design where you needed it to. So another really great question. So Cynthia Davis says, why does my tool shed not show the T icon? I have to use the menu tool to get my text. So depending on which program you have would depend on whether or not the text tool is there. But if you do have any of DIME's program that have the text tool, you should see a text tool on the icon on the toolbar with the icons. If you don't, try changing the default view. When I go back into the software, I'll show you how to change the default view. That would help with that. And Jennifer Alexander, big shout out to Jennifer. She frequents our events and our Facebook group. Thank you so much for the support, Jennifer. And she said, I really wish that when you're in a font type in Word Art Stitches that they'd have a key of what the colors mean. I really struggle with this one. So I would say, Jennifer, ignore the colors. And I'll, if the colors really are something that helps us as educators, but they don't have a significance on you creating your design. So don't even worry about that, about the different colors. So I'll explain that when I go back over to somebody that maybe doesn't understand what we're talking about. So let's see what here. Alice Gilbert says, why when clicking on a word, it will sometimes choose the entire word. Other times it will select just one letter. So that has to do with the design and how it was created. So let me go back over here into the software and we'll talk about this. So not every one of these words were created where you can change them. So family, for instance, family is written with this little swoosh at the top here. So it has created, and we don't want to make changes to it because it would mess up this whole look of this design. So this was saved so that it is just a design, that text. So when I click on family, it does not select that whole text. And I can tell before I even click on it, if I go over here to my sequence view in the bottom, this is the word family. When I click the plus, you can see it's just the satins and the runs that make up that text. So with this subway art, family is not meant to be changed. If you want to change it, you would do what I said about selecting this, deleting it, and even though it left this part, I can still delete it. And then I would add my own text by choosing my text tool and adding that back in there. So if I do an undo to put it back over here in my sequence view, if I press the plus next to where we have home, if I hover over this, I can see it a little bit bigger. So where it says home here, you can see that it says text. So when I click on it, it remains a text type item. And so I can make those changes easily here. So that's the difference there. Now, the different color of font, if I choose my text catalog. So over here on this AABB, if I click here, I can actually see my entire text catalog. So Jennifer Alexander said she wished she knew what the colors were for. So Jennifer and anybody else, ignore the colors. The colors mean nothing when it comes to designing. This is a way that we here at DIME know that this text, this text, this text, this text, this text, because they're all red, those were new text added to Word Art and Stitches in an update that happened in 2022. If you see purple text, you own the My Font, the Font Pack 06 is the luxury font collection. For you as a designer, it does not matter if you choose a red text, a blue text, a purple text, a yellow text. They all are the exact same and they all work the exact same. So, and we're going to talk more about text even in 2 weeks from now. So we'll see more details on all of the text information. So let's go on to see one of the wizards. So I want to do the bubble text wizard, and then I will answer some more of the questions that I see commented. I see that Chris asked about what is C2S. C2S is the native format for any DIME software program, and it retains information about the design that makes it easier to edit is the best way that I can kind of explain that. And then Joanne said, well, can we watch the replay? Absolutely. If you go to our YouTube channel, all of our live videos can be replayed as many times as you want. And then Ruth Ann Hansen says, can you also delete portions such as the underscore under the word wise? Absolutely. When it's ungrouped, then you would simply just select that line. I have my text tool selected, so it dropped another letter. So then with my regular select tool, I can click it and I can just delete it. So I press the delete on my keyboard and it's gone. The same is true for this little cupcake and the needle here. If you want to change the needle or the cupcake, you can simply delete these and then add the design that you want to right there. So it's really that easy. Okay, so now let's start with the bubble text wizard. So the bubble text option is a way that you can choose a shape and fill it with text. I'm just going to click apply here so we can see that. So I left all of the defaults here, but you can see that I have my text and it filled that block with the words, my text. It's set for this color, the size, and a rectangle for the shape. If I click this dot, 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 I can choose from any of these built-in shapes. Now you can bring in your own shape if you have an artwork shape like an SVG or a vector file, but we're just going to work with the built-in shapes for today. So I am going to, let's start with a sewing shape and let's talk about the difference if it's got a frame or if it doesn't. So I'm going to choose the regular sewing machine and I'm going to put love, fabric, and thread. You could type as many words as you want, but I just want to show you how it works. When you click the apply button, it fills that shape with the text. Okay, so now most of you guys out there probably own this or have seen this or used this. So let's go into a little more detail on all of these options. So the resize here, you can set the size. So this is helpful if you need your sewing machine to fit in a 5x7 hoop. So maybe you enter that as 5. And you can change the outline. So right now it's set to artwork, which means it's just a shape. It's not going to stitch. We can have a run stitch, a steel stitch, which is a satin stitch with the same width of border. And we can have an applique. So if I choose applique, it gives me a run placement, a run tack down, and a satin finishing stitch. Now I've already set my words for the height. This is the height of the text. So right now my text is at a 0.79 and I can change the orientation. So I'm going to click apply so we can see the changes that we've already made before I change more. So now you can see that applique around the edge. Now that might be a little bit tight on the applique around here, but it's just going to look like, your satin stitch together. And so maybe we would want to put that as a run stitch around the edge, because then you'd be able to see more of the needle area detail. It's really up to you. And so you can change the text direction. It can be all horizontal. It could be all vertical. It could be orthogonal, which is both vertical and horizontal, or it can be any direction, which means it can be on a diagonal, or vertical or horizontal. You can change the text type. So these different text combinations here give you different font combos. If I click on the little pencil, it'll show me which is in here. I can create my own font combos. It automatically puts Arial small because you do need a small font, font. But then you can do I'm going to do my font because I think I have one that's called My Combo. And when you click the add or the add for the micro, it will allow you to select which are your favorite fonts. And again, don't worry about the color. It is simply a way for you to select from these fonts. And again, don't matter about the color. These just mean that they were added to our program at a different time. So now my font combo, when I click the apply, it's going to fill with those fonts that I have chosen. This is the size of the text, so I can set it to be a minimum size or a maximum size. And this is the space between the text. So if you reduce this number, it'll actually put your text closer together. And then the envelopes here, I can make my text have these different shapes. Like I can make it be like a pennant and curved. I can check all of them or none of them. And when I click the apply, it'll make that change there. So, and you can see that it's actually changed some of those text. This is the font or the color combination. Now you can create your own color combinations as well by clicking the pencil to either edit what's already here. You can see those are the colors in this one, or you can create your own by clicking add, give it a name. Notice how it does not have okay until I give it a name, and add a text. So, or a color, sorry. So choose your color and then, add as many as you want for your color fonts. The little decor, these are little miniature designs that will go inside of your shape here when you click apply. And so like here, for instance, love, if you click the edit, you can see that it is lips and a heart, but it didn't pop anything in there. But if I click apply again and again, it changes this, and then you can see the lips. And in fact, if you don't put any text, it'll actually fill it with those shapes. So that's cute for my sewing machine. I love that. But now the difference between the sewing machine that I have on the screen and the one with the box around it is that your text and your designs go on the outside. And so if you make this an applique, you could put a decorative piece of fabric in there if you want. So that's the difference between the two here. But let's create a fun little St. Patrick's design here. So I'm going to use this mug, and I will leave it the applique that we have set, but let's put some text in here. So let's put lucky, maybe, and beer, pinch, all your St. Patrick's Day words. And I'm going to choose I set a color that is St. Patrick's Day colors of gold, 2 colors of green, and a black. And so look at that. Oh my gosh. And so I'm actually going to change these to all be horizontal and click apply. And I think that looks super cute. Oh, I love the lips. That was a happy accident because, kiss me, I'm Irish, right? So I'll leave that. And then let's say, okay, and put this on our workspace here. And I want to show you how you can actually edit it. Once this adds to your workspace, the key to editing is to ungroup. Remember, don't forget that. And I'm actually going to, over in my sequence view, I'm going to hide the mug part because I don't want these text here in my handle. So I'm going to click and drag a box around and select all of them. And then you can press the delete on your keyboard, or do a right mouse click and do delete, or use your cut option and it'll remove them. But now if I unhide my mug, you can see my mug is still there. And then another cute thing that I did just recently, I thought turned out cute, was I actually selected just half of it by dragging a box around it, and then hold down your control key, and I'm going to select these two fonts here. And I made all of these gold, like it was the main part of the beer. Whoops, I accidentally drug that line there. And then for the top part, I made all of that white. So I'm going to add a color chip down here and choose click on this with my left mouse click and make that, let's make it a not exactly white so we can see it, and then do a right mouse click to select it. And now I'm going to turn my beer mug back on. That's just hiding it, and look at that. Isn't that cute? I love that it had the little lips in there. That turned out really cute. So now it looks like my that my mug is filled, and maybe that's my foam on top. And these built-in text designs here, I feel like it needs a little pop of color. So I know there's a 4-leaf clover in here. There we go. So these are just miniature designs that you can incorporate in your design. And you can even resize them. It does recalculate the stitches for you. So maybe we just put a little clover there to add a little pop of color. So isn't that cool? Now, let me give you some tips on this. So some of these texts here are really tiny. That's why when you create a font combination, it forces you to choose a tiny font, a micro font, and to know whether or not you need a different weight of thread. If you are stitching a micro font, we do recommend a 60 weight thread. So if I hover over these color chips right here, it looks like we've got a lot of the same color. And even though we have black in 2 different spots here, but actually let me do a minus key here. To get rid of any colors that we don't need. And you can see here, if I hover over this, so we've got a black, and it tells me 40 weight thread there. And then and actually let me undo, because it actually took away my light colors. Whereas when I leave these, you can see that I have the 60 weight in the gold and the 40 weights in the gold. So here we've got 60 weight in these golds and the 40 weights, because it'll actually let you know which color to change, which means that when I selected all of these and only selected one gold, what I should have done is made sure that I selected the ones that were the 60 weight versus the 40 weight. And let me do an undo, and I'll show you what I mean. So that's me. This is my design process at home. I mess up and do this too. So we're going to go back to when we had all that color, and I'll show you in the shopping cart over here. So here in the shopping cart, or not in the shopping cart, in the sequence view, you can see here that it says thread 60 and thread 40. And so what I should have done is selected all of those 60s and the 40s together in those groups, and then changed those few colors at the top there. So I still probably should hide my mug and delete, just like this. And then for all of these, since they're all mixed in, what you would do is let's select all of the 60 weights here together. I'm holding down my control key. And then I'm going to make all of those this lighter gold color. So just to, 60 weight should be the darker gold, because it says 60 weight here. And then these 40 weights here, I'm going to make the lighter gold. Okay. And then from there, if I select here, I can still have this be a different color, because these are different color chips on the bottom. So if I do my minus here, so now I've got black, which is my mug, if we unhide that. And then now I've got this dark gold, which is 60 weight, which I definitely want to maintain, and the 40 weight for this gold. So then leave all of these 2 different gold colors underneath. And then when we select the top for our white, I would probably manually select this. So let's add a color. And I'm going to do a left click down here and turn it to a white color, and that is a 40 weight thread. So up here, my 40 weight, whoops, sorry. Remember the 40 weight was the lighter color. So I'm going to select these two here, and I would do a right mouse click on my white. And then the rest of these for my foam, I need another white. And that should be our 60 weight thread, which we do have in our color chart here. And I'm just going to choose one that's not exactly white so we can see it on the screen. So that's that one. So now if I select my text by holding down my control key, I can select all those darker colors there and make those a right mouse click for that lighter color. So then if I turn back on, so there we go. That's what I should have done to make sure I keep my 60 and my 40 weight thread separate. So isn't that cute? So I love that. And because I did my undo, I lost my little 4-leaf clover. So we can add that back there too. So down, down, down. I think I may have passed it. There we go. And you could maybe even put it at the top, at the bottom, in, you know, wherever you want. So I just put it here, just like I said, for a little pop of color. So isn't that cute? So I love that. So that is our block, our bubble text wizard here. And so that's just a fun thing that you can do with your bubble text. So the other wizard is the monogram wizard, and I'll show you how to create a design with that. But let's answer some questions first and see what else we've got. So I'm going to scroll down here. And then Susan asked, do you always save in the major format and the C2S? I think that it's a good idea to do that, because if you ever want to go back and edit all of those text colors there that we just had, I could just click on it and change. So maybe you save the design and you found that you misspelled a word, then you could easily click on it and just change that and not have to go back. So I usually save my C2S to my computer. I save my machine format to a USB stick, and I take that to my machine. And then when I'm done embroidering, I usually every now and then clear off my USB stick. I delete everything on it because I have the original C2S file that I could always resave as a PES. So that's a really good question. And so, and Susan, the same question. So the machine format and the C2S, I would save both. And I usually keep my C2S forever. And then I delete the machine file off of my stick. So and then Lynn says, do you need to move it in the stitch sequence for the stitch out the same order? Yes, that's a really good point that I did not talk about when we were doing the first time, the family, the subway art. Yes, you can change the stitch sequence. If you created the text like with the family, like I changed and had to add text, you can move that up and down. So when I go back over there, I'll show you that as well. And then Janice, a small one to know, how does word art differ from PEP? So PEP is a digitizing program where you can pretty much create any design that you ever wanted to, but you can also edit. It has different stitch types in that you can create it, whereas Word Art and Stitches doesn't allow you to create a design from scratch. It's really all of the built-in text, and you can edit a design by ungrouping and deleting those colors. So, so yeah, that's the major difference between, but PEP is our most powerful software program. That's a really good question. So, and then Patricia says, I can't find you on Facebook. So on our user group, if you are looking for the user group, it's called DIME Software, Inspiration Software Users. And so if you search that in Facebook, then you will find it. Or if you go to Inspired by DIME, the community forum, under support, you can just click on it and it'll actually take you right to that Facebook group. So check that out, and I can show you that too if we have time to get to it. And then Jan says, how do you make two words how do you make a 2-word under words like Star Wars? Oh, okay. So in the bubble text. So I'll just open up. So here we'll share my screen again, and then I'll go back into bubble text here. We'll just use this blank one. So if you want to keep your text together, so like New York, or like Jan said, Star Wars, put a tilde between the two. So a space will allow the software to break those up, where New and York it's always separate. So if you put a tilde And that looks like that. It knows to keep the words together. So when I click apply, now every time you see new, you'll see York. So use a tilde to keep your two texts together. And you can have a combination of both. So that's a really good question. So Jan, so awesome. And then the I love all the comments. So Dawn's so cool. And oh, thank you, Jan. She said it's so creative. Ruth Ann said, I'm really impressed. I have several software programs that I rarely use and some I never use, nor do I care to use, but I think I would really use this. And so I definitely agree, Ruth Ann. You know, that's the thing is you got to get them out and use them. And so the more you use them, the easier that they will be. So, and then Diane said, how do you do two words like ice cream? A great question. Jan asked that, and you'll put that tilde in between. My friend Stephanie, thanks. She's from Caesar. Thanks for joining, Stephanie. I appreciate you being here. And then Mary says, will the 40 weight thread only be suggested in exquisite thread? Threads are the defaults used. And so the it will pull the 60 weight thread. I think, you know, if there are some mixed in with yours, I really don't know since we use primarily exquisite, but I do know that it knows you need 60 weight. So even if that's not your default chart, I do think it would pull from that. So, Mary, the next time that you're in there and you play, try it and see. I think that's the best thing about software is just playing and seeing what you what it'll do, and then you can always do your undo. So and Lynn says, can you import fonts purchased from other vendors? You absolutely can. If they are individual files, then you can use our font editor to make them a keyboard font. So and then Chris says, how do you make the space between a sentence? So a space between a sentence. If you are doing regular text, you would just put the space there at the end of the sentence, if that's what you mean, Chris. Or if you mean between lines, you can actually adjust the space between lines. So if you're still watching, Chris, tell us a little bit more about that question. But here, let me show you here. If you type some text, hello, I'm going to just do, how are you? I'm not doing any punctuation. And so when I click apply, this right now all on one line. And so if I want to change the space, I can put more spaces at the end or after the word here, and it will actually register those empty spaces. You can also use the kerning to adjust that. Now, if you mean between lines, let me take these spaces out here and put that on another line and press apply. If you mean between lines, you can actually change the spacing here. So right now it's 25%. If I increase that to 100, you can see that it increases that distance between the two lines there. So if that's what you mean, but at the end of the sentence, you would just use your space bar and put the space behind your sentence. So hopefully that helps. If it doesn't, let us know if you had a different question. So what did you mean by imported fonts and add as a keyboard font? So built into Word Art in Stitches, there's a tool called the font editor. And we don't have time to go over this today, but I'll go over it in a future episode. The font editor allows you to map a file to a keyboard stroke. So if you purchased a set of text from a company that saves it each as individual letter, then you would map the H to the H on your keyboard. And then you could use that to type out the text. So that's what the font editor does, is it allows you to map keyboard keystrokes to a particular file. So you would tell it, when I hit H, bring up the H. When I hit E, you bring up the E. And so it's a wizard that, you know, that does that. So, but before we get done, let me show you one more thing. And so if you have more questions, then I'd make sure you're telling over in the chat. So I'm going to do the wizard now, the monogram wizard. Now, what the monogram wizard does is it has built-in monograms that have beautiful frames around them for a 1-letter monogram, a 2-letter, a 3-letter, 4-letter monograms, and even names. So to use this tool, you simply select the monogram that you want to work with. So let's just choose one. So this is cute. We have some very modern monograms, and then you can change the text here. So this is SLCH, which maybe is somebody that has 2 middle names, a first and a last. But if you want to use it for someone that has 3 initials, maybe their initials are Pam, you can do that as well. Or if you are using the 4, it will put them all in a row. So let's do PAMH. Maybe that's somebody's initials there. So you can change these text here. So if I open up and let's look at this one. So that was all in one row, but this one here, you can see that the individual letters are separately. You can still change them to whatever you want them to be. And I'm even going to put lowercase here. So let's do our PAMH. I'm not sure whose initials that is, but surely it's somebody's out there. And click apply, and you can see I have the lowercase now. But this doesn't have to be an individual. This could be maybe a family monogram where it's the 4 children's first initial, or maybe it's mom and dad and 2 kids. But you can set the size, you can change it to what you need to be, and then when you click apply, it adds it to your workspace. And then again, if I want to change that because I put the wrong letter there, because this is text, I can click on it and then make that change there. So maybe it was the E was what I was supposed to put. Okay, so that's the monogram wizard. Now let me show you something fun with it. Well, that is fun, but let's do something St. Patrick's Day related. So here, this fun little design here, again, instead of letters, you can change the names. And so what I did was put St. Patrick's. And then instead of the and family, I put happy. And let's do lowercase there. It'll do whatever you put, happy, and then day for the family. And when I click the apply, it changes my text. So, but you can still manipulate that. So let's say, okay, here. And again, these are all text. You can see when I click on it, it brings up my text properties over here to the right. So I can change this to a different font if I want. So let's just see here. Let's just change it just to be, fun. So let's choose this one. And I'm going to make this bigger. And I just click and drag that larger and then kind of move it. It's offset because the word was bigger than what it started with. And then for this one, let's go back and choose that same text here. So, actually, that's not the same one. Here, let me fix that. So I want them to match. So, and that's the beauty of this. You can make it whatever you want. So there we go. And then again, I'm going to make it bigger again because I switched to a different text. Move that center, and I'll show you how to get everything lined up here. And then the St. Patrick's, I like that text. I think that's cute. But this particular font, I left out my apostrophe out of the text, not the font. So I'm going to put that in place and click to add my apostrophe. And then I can just stretch this larger to fill in that area if I want. And then we went over this too, but if you select something on your screen, hold down your control key and use your arrow keys, it will nudge your design. Control plus your arrow key to nudge your design. Okay. And I have that a little big, so I might want to even just go a little bit smaller there to keep it from stitching over top of here. I could shrink this down if I wanted it to be right inside of my letters. But let me tell you what I mean by editing a design. Now, we have an On the House program that you guys may be familiar with. This is a free design every week that Eileen gives away, or not gives away, it shares with you because anybody can get it. It's not just a giveaway. And this was our design, I think last week maybe, or maybe the week before. But I want to use these little shamrocks here in this design. So Word Art and Stitches is not just a lettering program. It is an editing program as well, because I can actually ungroup this design. I'm going to head over here to my sequence view, and you can see that I have all the different parts, and I'm going to delete. I'm just clicking on the mug. So if I scroll here, you can see my mug. So I'm going to click and delete, and I'm removing everything. Whoop, undo. That's my favorite key. I'm removing everything except for the shamrocks because I'm going to borrow those in my existing design there. So perfect. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to remove this little part here. So I'm just selecting and deleting, select and delete. So you can select several at one time, but because it's curved, I couldn't select all. And now I'm going to borrow, or not borrow. I'm not giving them back, but I want to select. Let's do 4 of these. So I'm going to select these 4 shamrocks, and it's hard to select all of them. So let me delete here and here so I can select those 4 easily. There we go. And so I'm just going to select these 4 right here. I'm going to group them together so that I don't lose them. And I'm going to do a right mouse click and change them to green. And then do you see what I'm about to do here? I can make these embellish my little frame here. So use your control key and your arrow keys, hold down control, and you can nudge that into place. Oh, that's so cute, right? And then I'm going to get rid of these, and then let's zoom in here. And then now these are grouped together. So I'm just going to copy, paste. I'm going to mirror image them both horizontally and vertically. And then it's the easy to just slide that right into place. And then again, use your keys to nudge that. Now these 3 texts here, if I control and click on them, I can actually use these centering options. So I can center those horizontally to make sure that everything's perfect. Now this is stitching into my clover, so I might resize that a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to select them again and make sure that they're all centered up. So is that not cool? So there's you a fun little design that you can make with your software, and a quick last minute if you need a happy St. Patrick's Day gift there. Now, what I just showed you, this design comes from our On the House designs. They're on our dzgns.com site where you can download that free design and you can borrow those shamrocks just like I did. Many of our other DIME software will do that. Our software that has text, you can create that text. And then it's just that frame there that comes from Word Art and Stitches. But the other DIME software that has text and the ability to ungroup, you could do what I did there with those shamrocks. So isn't that adorable? So tell me what you think over there. I see some questions popping up. So let me answer some of those. And then I'll show you what to expect 2 weeks from now. Mega Ladybird 12 says, do you have to download the On the House designs, or are you automatically added to your program? You do have to download them. That's a great question. So you have to download them, and then you can use them inside of your software. And then Chris said, isn't this a split design? So it could be if you needed it to be. If you wanted to stitch this larger than a hoop, you could stitch the top portion and then the bottom portion and then put your text in the center, but it's automatically not meant to split. You can save it or either stitch it separately, whichever you prefer. And so the other thing I wanted to point out, I was just looking to see if we had any other questions before we go. So Birdie Jean Jensen Pierce says, this is my first time using my DIME software and I'm new to embroidery. Welcome, Birdie. Oh, we're so glad to have you. You're going to love embroidery, right? I know that everybody can attest to that. This tutorial is awesome. Thank you so much. It's way too fast for a beginner, and I definitely can understand that. And then is there a place for new users to access? So you can rewatch this video as many times as you want, Birdie, and pause it and and then do the things that I'm doing over here. Also on our YouTube channel, if you click on the playlist, it's actually sorted by the different pieces of software. If you start with Embroidery Toolshed, that will show you the basics of how to resize, how to select, how to rotate. That's a great place to start. Also, watch the first couple of Software Success Facebook Lives. Those were all about the free Embroidery Toolshed and what you can do. So that's a great one. And then Linda Carlin Strauss says that is that similar to the BX fonts in Brilliance. So we don't read BX fonts. That is specific to Brilliance software. And so for us to use the keyboard font, you use the font editor and it maps those fonts. And so then you don't have to have BX fonts. It could be any file type from any embroidery machine or software that will that you can use in the font editor. So and so everybody's saying so cute. I think I got all the questions. If I missed yours, I apologize. And so hopefully I got them all. But one last thing that I want to point out before we go is that remember your embroidery software, if you don't own DIME software and you are interested in it, check with your local dealer. That is your first place that I would recommend checking, because your local dealer will give you a better deal on your DIME software purchase than you will get directly from us. So support your local dealer. Go ask them, how can I purchase if you're interested in one of these programs that you don't have. You can locate a dealer by clicking on our website. If you go to dzgns.com, click on the dealer locator at the very bottom. If you scroll all the way down, it will allow you to enter your zip code and then locate a DIME dealer to help you with your software purchase. So make sure that you check that. That's the place to go to purchase new software. That would be the place I go first for the best deal. Okay, and so the other thing that I wanted to make sure to share with you is that if you like this video, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. That's going to make certain that you are notified about these Facebook Live presentations that both Eileen and I do. And that way you'll be notified for the next one. We have another one coming up on the 21st of March that's specifically about software. And I'll share with you what I'm going to show you on that after you see this video of how to subscribe to our Facebook page.
We want to make sure you are being notified every time we go live on Thursdays at 1 p.m. And here's a quick tutorial on how you can set up your live notifications. First, on your home page, click on the search button. Look for us. Click on the three little dots on our page. A pop-up will appear. Select on Manage Follow Settings. Click on Live Videos and enable notifications. Make sure they're all set to all. Now you're all set.
Okay, so before we talk about this, let me just answer a couple of more questions here. So Randy Allen says that Randy's new to embroidery, so how do I know which version of PES to use? So I would use the PES version 9 if you are new and you probably have a newer embroidery machine. The older versions were versions from past times that every time Brother and Baby Lock will update, they just add a new version. So the version 9 has the most current information about the design to tell the embroidery machine what to do. If you have an older machine and it won't read the PES version 9, then you can try the other versions. And I would go right to like version 6 is a really good one to jump to, but always choose the latest version when available. And that is the PES version 9 if you're using a Brother or Baby Lock machine. And then Jennifer says she would really like a lesson on adding fonts to Word Art and Stitches, that she has some designs by Juju that she'd like to add. So Jennifer, I thank you for the suggestion, and we definitely will talk about using the font editor in the future on this Software Success live presentation. So, and then Cindy Ryan says, are there any tutorials on PEP and Perfect Stitch Viewer? Yes, absolutely. So last week or 2 weeks ago, Cindy, I talked about Perfect Stitch Viewer. So watch the past Software Success Live. And then also over on our YouTube channel, if you do the playlist and sort, the playlist will group the videos together. There's a whole group of videos that are specific to Perfect Embroidery Pro. And there's also one specific to Perfect Stitch Viewer over there. Sorry. And then always join the Facebook group, and you can we can answer questions for you as well. So, and then next week, let me just share with you, not next week. I always want to say next week, in 2 weeks. So we're doing software success every 2 weeks. So the next one is on March the 21st. So make sure that you join me. We will do word art and stitches one more time, and then I'll go on to another DIME software program because we have so many to cover, right? And I want to give them each the time that they deserve. And so next week, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that you see here on the screen. We're going to talk about how to build a design from the built-in features using different couple types of text. I'm going to talk to you about true type text. Next week, we're going to talk about text on a path, which can be that nice wave or that heart shape or really any shape that you want. And we'll do some other fun manipulating of the text. So again, what I'm showing next week, you can do in Word Art and Stitches, but if you have text in your DIME software, the things that I'm showing, a lot of them can be done in the programs that have built-in text or the group and ungroup features. So make sure you tune in on March the 21st to see what we are talking about in the Text Factor Part 2. So thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate you being here. I hope that I got some answered your questions, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.